Tailwind CSS has been around since 2017, and in recent years has really caught on as a new, unique way of not writing CSS. But now, is there anything better than Tailwind? In my opinion, yes, and I don't ever see myself switching back. And if you keep up with all the things in the world of CSS frameworks, you've probably heard of it. It's Uno CSS. In this video, we're going to go through the differences between Tailwind and Uno CSS and see if it's worth a switch. Before we get into that, a little bit about Uno CSS. Uno CSS is not a utility framework out of the box. Instead, it's more of an engine to create your own. When I read this in the Uno CSS docs, I just stopped reading and kept using my good old Tailwind CSS. But don't be fooled like me. Uno CSS does include some presets to help you get started. These include preset mini, preset wind, and preset Uno. Preset mini is just basic styling. Preset wind is everything that is normally included in Tailwind CSS, and it also inherits everything in the mini preset. And finally, Uno is just a few extra things the creator wanted to add to wind, and it also inherits the wind preset. You really only want to pick one of these for your project, so we're just going to go with the Uno preset. Okay, now at this point, Uno CSS is basically the same as just plain Tailwind, so here's where the uniqueness really comes in. Uno CSS uses these complicated regex things that scan your code with JavaScript, and not only does this make it really fast, it also allows you to do some really cool things like arbitrary values without all the ugly brackets. Uno CSS also comes with more presets, like an attributify preset. This preset allows you to write classes as attributes in your HTML. This preset also lets you do more things like change your variants into props and more. And for all the people right now that are screaming in their chair that this isn't valid HTML, yeah, you're right, it isn't. But CSS doesn't really care and browsers don't either. But if you still like to have valid HTML, Uno CSS lets you pass a config option to this preset. And you can change the default prefix to data, which makes something like this. Also, if you'd like to read about all of these presets and configs, check out the link in the description for the Uno CSS docs. The next preset is one of my favorite features about Uno CSS, and it's the preset Icons. This lets you create icons with just classes. To set it up, all you have to do is install any icon pack you want from Iconify with npm or any other package manager, and that's it, it's done. Now you can create icons with classes. So you can add a class like this and get an icon that looks like this. You can also just install the entire Iconify library to your computer and use any icon you want on any project on your entire computer. Now, I'm not going to talk more about presets, there's just so many, but if you'd like a video or want to hear more about Uno CSS presets, configs, or how to set up a project, please comment down below. This also is my very first video I've ever published to YouTube, so if you like this video, please subscribe for more. Anyways, now we move on to Transformers, which are basically JavaScript functions that change your code before running it through the presets. My favorite ones that I use on every project are Transformer directives, which if you've used Tailwind at apply, you will understand what this is immediately. It lets you write Uno CSS as regular CSS. The next transformer is Transformer variant group, which allows you to group variants with parentheses and save a lot of typing as well as make your code a lot cleaner. And again, not to repeat myself, but there's a lot more transformers than this. Next up is shortcuts, which allow you to create your own classes like button that you can use anywhere on your entire project. What's really cool is that you can give this a function and make your shortcuts dynamic. So if we add this to our button example, we can put in any color we want and get a really nice effect. To me, this makes so much more sense than what Tailwind does with having to make a layer and use apply, and it isn't even dynamic. Then of course the foundation of what Uno CSS presets are, which is rules, which are basically the same as shortcuts just with vanilla CSS. And again, we can also pass a function to make them dynamic as well. But now the big question, are these small differences between Uno CSS and Tailwind CSS worth the switch? In my opinion, absolutely. And to me, it really isn't even a switch. Except for all the great features and things you get with Uno CSS, I don't think there's anything in Tailwind CSS that isn't included in Uno CSS as well. So just switch. I really hope that you learned something in this video, and I'll see you in the next one.